What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where we are training up warriors, not weaklings. Today is Thursday, November 13th in the year of our Lord 2025. And this is where you can come to get equipped to stand firm, speak truth, and fight against a culture that is trying to steal your faith, your family, and your freedom. Because this is a spiritual battle, not just political. And the battle is always raging and never takes a day off. So we are done pulling punches. The gloves are off and we're getting after it. So be sure to follow us at Mission Ready Men on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Truth, Getter, and be sure to subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels as well. And if you want to wear the fight, let everyone know that you are in this fight. Go ahead and grab your gear at missionreadymen.com. Click Shop 7 Armors and check out all of those great designs. All right, business is done. It's go time. And obviously, I don't know if it's not breaking news at this point, but we all know that the shutdown is over. 43 days, the longest shutdown in U.S. history. And the left spent 43 days, 6 weeks, saying that the Republicans are holding America hostage, holding people on SNAP benefits hostage. And then when the smoke cleared, it turns out that, not that the smoke really cleared. I mean, anyone paying attention already knew. I mean, they voted, 14, 15 times to keep it shut down. They voted against opening the government repeatedly. And then continue to try and blame Republicans, and people believe it. People actually believe it. And it turns out that the resistance sounds really noble until federal workers start missing paychecks, and then even more importantly, or at least what has more impact on the national stage is the flight delays and the holidays coming up and potentially ruining or at least severely impacting your vacation plans. So, and then of course the election took place, and they got their win in blue states where they were expected to win. And you hear some of these leftist commentators and YouTubers talking about how it was a blue wave or whatever. They so as soon as the election was over, lo and behold, as Scott Jennings pointed out in one of his clips, they decided to reopen the government. The House vote was 222 to 209. 6 Democrats crossed over to vote with Republicans. 2 Republicans voted no. And the same Democrats who screamed about obstruction, Republican obstruction, spent weeks blocking nearly identical proposals just so they could say that it was, or pretend and try to get people to believe that it was all Republicans' fault. This was, but of course, it wasn't Republicans' fault. We all know that. But here, President Trump is signing the bill that was finally sent to his desk.
With my signature, the federal government will now resume normal operations, and my administration and our partners in Congress will continue our work to lower the cost of living, restore public safety, grow our economy, and make America affordable again for all Americans. With my signature.
And I know that that is just making Democrats, leftists seethe. They absolutely hate it. I know they hate it, and it is it is glorious to see. Absolutely glorious to see. Something else that was glorious to see before we before we move on. This was this was one of the best things I have seen on the internet in a very, very long time. Check this out. Whoever put that together in the White House communications department, whoever handles their social media, that was legendary. The trolling that comes out of this White House was, or is, and it continues to be amazing, absolutely amazing. And that, like I said, was one of the best things I have seen on the internet, and the best thing from the White House I've seen in a long time. That was absolutely amazing. But getting back to the business at hand. After all of that, after 43 days, after all of the histrionics, what did they get? The donut. They got absolutely nothing. Their biggest demand was the Obamacare subsidies. Nothing. And there's reporting that there is a promise to vote on it by the end of the year. That's not in the bill. That may have been a handshake deal from Leader Thune, but it is not in the bill that I've seen. And I haven't read the entire thing. I did download it and I did start reading it, but I haven't read the whole thing. So maybe it's buried in there somewhere, but I scanned it looking for it. It's not in there that I can see. So they didn't get anything. They didn't get anything, anything on their wish list. It's just the continuing resolution, which continues the Biden era spending, which of course nobody should really be happy about because that's ridiculous in and of itself. But it was a 43-day temper tantrum. And the Democrats got the same deal that they could have gotten 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks and $1 billion taxpayer dollars ago. Nothing but pain was accomplished. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. 6 weeks later, and the effect is the same. They blinked because they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing. They had what they thought was leverage, which was the pain of the American people most affected by the shutdown. And they said that repeatedly. Many of them said that repeatedly, that this shutdown and the pain of the American people was the only leverage they had. And that needs to be in every campaign ad from the Republicans from now until the next election. Because You're not really gonna hear it from any of the American Pravda. So it's going to be incumbent upon them to make sure that that message gets out. And even I said that you're not going to hear from the American Pravda, but even they, on a limited basis, are saying that all of this on the left was self-inflicted. They did it to themselves. You're starting to see, or at least you're seeing occasionally, some leftist propagandists actually committing some small acts of journalism and pushing back on these Democrats that are trying to spin things in their favor. And even people like on CNN, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but even they're pushing back. It's kind of wild to see. What's not wild to see, what's completely expected though, is the pivot. Because I looked for the meltdowns. I looked for meltdowns from the usual suspects. And I didn't really find any mainstream leftist propagandists like going bananas over it. And so then I started looking at the YouTubers and the influencers like Harry Sissy Boy and Kyle Kalinske and some of the others, Jennifer Welch. And I'm not really seeing them melt down over this like I thought they would. But what they are doing is pivoting back to the Epstein files. And if there really was anything, and a lot of people were pissed off at Trump for calling it a hoax, and I understand that, but I also understand why he said it and why he thinks that, because we know his name is mentioned in some of these documents and stuff like that, but he hasn't been implicated. And we all know, anyone with two firing neurons knows that if there was anything in those files that would implicate President Trump in any possible way, in any way, in the slightest way, it would be out, and they would have used it as effectively as they possibly could to try and prevent him from even becoming president again. And nothing happened. There is nothing there. Nothing. And so that's why President Trump calls it a hoax and it's a distraction. And that's why they pivoted back to this, because they know that their base is gullible and will believe it. And they do believe it because they keep pivoting back to it. But here's how you know that they are completely full of it. Because Tim Burchett, and let me see if I can pull it up here. There was a lot to get into. Well, you know what, while I look for that, let's listen to Scott Jennings, because he addressed this as well. Here we go.
Then why is the White House fighting it so much? That's my question here, because I do agree with you. It might die in the Senate. So then why is the White House fighting it like they are?
Because I think they believe that the time spent on this and that the Republicans who've bought into the Democratic tactics on this are ultimately hurting the president's agenda and hurting the overall Republican effort to change this country for the better. The president firmly believes this is nothing but a distraction tactic ginned up by Democrats who didn't care about this one bit until a couple of months ago. They didn't care about it when Joe Biden was the president. Now they care about it to try to tie up this presidency. He's lived through these things before. He's lived through these kinds of, wild goose chases before. It's all designed to tie him up. He recognizes it. He doesn't want his own party members to fall for it, but I think a few probably will.
I think some people might dispute the wild goose chase part, just given obviously the victims that are at the heart of this and the survivors.
No, regarding him, the Democratic allegation, it's thinly veiled, but the Democratic allegation is that Donald Trump did something untoward, unethical, or worse. You hear people say it on television day in and day out. They've not tried to hide the misleading of the American people, and there's not a shred of evidence that Donald Trump has done anything wrong. But that's what...
Not a shred of evidence. I did have the Tim Burchett thing queued up, or at least I thought I did, but I'm not going to waste time looking for it now. But he put it up to a vote. Well, he submitted it for consideration for a vote, and they denied it. The left, the Democrats, voted against it. So if they really were about releasing the Epstein files, and here we go. This is on Twitchy. Ted Lieu. Trump and complicit Republicans are engaged in a massive cover-up of the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Okay, Lieu. Well, here we go.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense, and and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it, and now they're
Obviously.
all, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for seeing it here.
He said they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. And he's right. Of course, he is absolutely right. Unbelievable. So their pivot isn't working. Hey, Canada Heavy Haul, thanks for being in the chat. Thank you. Thank everyone who is in the chat for being here. I appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe and get involved. We'd love to hear from you. So we've already established that they didn't get anything. They got absolutely nothing. What is in the bill? It continues the budget until January 30th. So it's kicking the can down the road. They did give a full year's worth of funding until September 30th of 2026 for the VA, the USDA, FDA, and the military. Federal workers are going to get back pay, and there's not going to be any layoffs. So it's what they could have gotten 6 weeks ago, like I said before. They didn't get any new taxes. They didn't get any Green New Deal cash grabs. They didn't get their subsidies for the Unaffordable Care Act. It's just a continuation of the fight that we're probably going to have again come late January. Because the left is going to continue to obstruct, as they so often do. And we're going to likely be right back where we started. Unless some of the more reasonable Democrats, the ones who actually came across and voted to reopen the government, if they keep their common sense about them and negotiate in good faith, then maybe we can get something done. Now, one thing that is in the bill that I'm not a huge fan of is a provision that allows Senate members to sue the government for $500,000 if they were caught up in the surveillance and their data was obtained by Jack Smith without their knowledge, without them being notified. And I believe there were eight senators that that got caught up in that. House Republicans are irritated that they put that in the bill, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. If what happened was done illegally, prosecute Jack Smith, prosecute the people involved, and then let them sue those people personally for damages. But the taxpayers should not be on the hook for that. And so the Republicans in the House that are upset, I understand that. It's not, I'm not a fan of it either. And I think the senators who were involved, who are going to have that opportunity as a result of this, if it stays, it may get repealed. I know that there's going to be an effort to repeal it, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But they pulled a fast one. They did a little sneak attack, and it worked for now, anyway. But 43 days, and the only thing that broke was what little credibility they had left. They lost. They played chicken and they lost. They played chicken and they lost. And I could not be happier about it. Well, I take that back. I could be happier about it if we actually had a budget and if we weren't spending as much money as we were and we weren't in so much debt. But all of that aside, the fact that the government is now open again is where we need to be. So and I didn't plan on talking about this, but I just want to mention it, and we'll probably get into it next time. But with all the hoopla around the SNAP benefits, Brooke Rollins is looking into it, and she's found people who are deceased still getting benefits. She's found people who are enrolled 2 and 3 times getting benefits. And this is why you see these people talking about how upset they're going to be if they don't get their SNAP benefits, with their hair done and their nails done and driving all these nice cars, because the government is paying them to not work. And so I'm hopeful that she can get to the bottom of this, kick them off, prosecute them for fraud, and get that going. So we'll get into that next time, but that's going to be huge if they can get that done. All right, I want to pivot to something that we talked about quite a bit on this show. I didn't think it would actually end up being something that I talk about regularly, but turns out that it needs to be talked about, and not enough people are talking about it. The title of this show, this episode, is Faith versus Submission, and why Islam and freedom don't mix. And you've heard me talk about this before, and I'm going to get into it a little more from a slightly different angle. Well, maybe not slightly different, but you'll get the idea. There was protests, lunch menus. There's a culture war, and it's not brewing. I mean, it's in full swing between Christianity, Western values and the American way of life. All of it is under pressure and under attack right now. We had the attack at the TPUSA event in Berkeley, where a guy named Jihad, I mean, that's not on the nose, is it? Attacked a guy wearing a cross. Texas is pushing for halal meals in schools, and taxpayer-funded vouchers in Florida are going to Islamic schools with ties to terrorist organizations. So when an ideology as warlike as that refuses to assimilate, what happens? What happens? Now, just to set the stage for what we're talking about here, and we talked about the guy that President Trump had in the Oval Office, and the video of him, not the video, but the image of him holding up two severed heads. That is the ideology that we're dealing with here. And in Berkeley last week, or a few days ago, like I said, the guy named Jihad, I don't think that's his real name. I think that's his like rapper name or whatever, a Muslim rapper. Anyway, he attacked a guy who was just standing there minding his business, wearing a freedom shirt, holding up a freedom shirt with a cross on it, wearing a cross. And this guy comes up to him and snatches the cross off of his neck. And here's one of the videos. There's a few videos of this incident, but check this out. And this one has no sound, so there it is. This is the fight. The guy in the red shirt had his chain snatched, and now he's getting beat down by this guy named Jihad. And when I first heard about it and when I first saw the story, and it's kind of hard to see, so I'll stop that for the time being. But when I first heard the story, the only thing I heard was that he got arrested. The victim got arrested. Both of them, it turns out both of them did get arrested. That was just the initial reports, but both of them got arrested. And the victim was released without any charges, so that's good. But yeah, let's take a look at this one, because this is the other angle.
Break it up! Break it up! Police! Break it up! Police! Break it up! Hey, white boy! Break it up! You're bleeding, bitch! Hey, white boy! You're bleeding, white boy!
Now, just as a side note, these bike patrol officers go to a school called Cobweb School. I don't know that, and I haven't been to Cobweb School, so I could be wrong. But I don't know that using your bike like that is how they train you. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad. I hope he doesn't face any discipline because of it. He's just trying to control the crowd. But I just found that amusing.
What happened, white boy? Hey, white boy, what the fuck happened?
Wow. Just ridiculous. So this happened at a TPUSA event. And it started when that guy Jihad stole the cross off of his neck. The juxtaposition of the two individuals and the symbolism that goes along with that is pretty obvious. It's a Muslim named Jihad snatching the symbol of Christianity off of what I presume to be a Christian's neck. And it's indicative of the hatred that we know that Islam hates Christians and Jews and all the rest of it. They hate everyone who's not a Muslim. This is not an isolated incident. This is not happening in a vacuum. This is Islam's assault on Western values, and it's being somewhat, I don't want to say normalized, but it's being kind of swept under the rug, because all of the other institutions in this country hate Christianity, not to the point of wanting to kill Christians. Well, maybe some of them do, I don't know. But in general, the institutions like the media, they hate Christianity and Christians as well. So when it gets physical like this, to this point where there's an all-out brawl in the middle of the street, it reveals the cultural, the fault lines in this cultural, our cultural identity. And another thing that does that to an equal extent is what's happening in Texas. And we've talked about that before. We've talked about how they have Epic City and some of these other Islamic compounds that are being built in Texas. And for all of Greg Abbott's bluster about not allowing Sharia law, his words and his actions they're complete opposites. They're complete opposites. HB, House Bill 625 and House Bill 667 in Texas propose halal meal options in public schools. If that passed and he signs it, it no longer is an option. It becomes a mandate. It becomes a mandate, which is what the Islamic Jihad, the community, the Islamic community wants. They want to impose their will on infidels. And that's what we are. It is unbelievable to me. And I say unbelievable often, but this really is unbelievable to me, because Texas is supposed to be, and I used to live in Texas, Texas is supposed to be this bastion of freedom and independence and uniquely American. And there are so many mosques being built, and there is such a takeover underway in the state of Texas. And Greg Abbott, for all his lip service, is doing absolutely nothing about it. Nothing. Nothing. And the so-called Republicans who are supposed to be in the majority in Texas are allowing this nonsense to come to the floor and be voted on. Why? How is this even possible? Especially in the state of Texas. If independent school districts want to offer a choice, fine, I guess. I don't think they should when it comes to Islam, but whatever. But to put it into a law like that, it's actually elevating. It's actually elevating a choice to public policy. And what happens when that happens? What happens when you allow that to the cultural framework? Christians, Western consumers, Western culture, all paying for the infiltration of this ideology into their lives. And the cultural assimilation that should be required, that apparently is not, isn't just about language or dress. It's also about norms, values. It's also about our food. We're talking about halal. And our symbols. This is part of their plan, with something that we've talked about quite a bit. This is part of their plan to infiltrate and take over. People don't want to hear that. I get these videos get taken down because it goes against whatever algorithm, but it's the truth and it needs to be heard. And it's not just Texas, it's happening in Florida too. Florida is allowing taxpayer school vouchers to be used for schools like the Hibbs Academy and the Bayan Academy in Florida, which promotes Sharia law, which teaches, indoctrinates those students about Sharia law. There is a push in Florida. I will say that Ron DeSantis is actually not. He's doing a lot more than Abbott is to try and combat this. But let's take a look at this, because Amy Meck, who runs the Rare Foundation, and if you're not following Amy Meck on X, you need to. You need to, because she is doing some amazing work with exposing Islam for what it is. And I thought I had that one queued up too. But I guess not. But the fact is, I apologize for that, but the fact remains, these vouchers that are being used for these schools. And I actually have an op-ed that's going to drop on this shortly after the show, so be sure to check that out on shrmedia.com. I will be dropping that probably within about a half an hour after the show ends. I was working on it in between doing prep for the show, so that's probably why things are a little confusing right now. Maybe I had that for the research for the article, but regardless, these schools, these academies in Florida have, as I said, ties to jihadist networks. Some of the founders of these schools are actually members of Al Qaeda and all the rest of those jihadi groups over there. And they have uniforms where they require the males and the females to wear traditional Islamic garb in school. And tax dollars that go to this type of nonsense, that completely goes against the idea of assimilation. If you come to this country and you just bring your values and then not just follow them yourself personally, but then try to institute them into the community at large that you have moved to, that's not assimilation. That's domination, which is what Islam is all about. The term Islam, the word Islam is translated submission. We've talked about this before. They want submission. What you do in your private life, and that's the difference between Western culture and this warlike culture of Islam. If you want to come here and you want to worship Allah, go for it. I'll pray that you come out of that. But they demand that you convert, that you submit, or they will kill you. It's not just ideological. What they're doing in states like Florida and Texas, it's a movement. It's an operation. They're getting elected into offices, and they're affecting legislation. They're affecting the way people do business. And we're allowing it. I got one clip here that I'm gonna show you because this is insane.
That Islam will enter every house. Every house. Don't worry about the Islamophobes. They can yap all they want. Their children will be Muslim.
This is what they're saying. And you know how they're going to make the children Muslim? By putting them in these Islamic schools.
All those people of Taif, go to Taif today. Show me a kafir there. All Muslims. Read Tariq al-Thaqafi. Al-Thaqafi, this qabila is from Taif. Great mujahideen, great ulama, they came from the children of those they used to throw those stones.
There's another clip here. a part of this. This is a long clip, so I'm just going to skip ahead.
You know, nobody cares what game you're playing that day or what burger you had that day. No, utilize your social media for da'wah. Take those clips, take those reels, make videos, promote them, put them on your TikTok, put them on your Instagram, put them on your WhatsApp statuses, so that you can be a means of hidayah. Even if you're not out there getting stabbed like me, but you will be a means of people becoming Muslim.
Yeah, no thanks. Not happening here.
The park, somebody talks, you believe in that Islam that be chopping off hands? Yeah, I do.
You notice his accent in that first clip as opposed to what he sounds like now? It's all fake. It's all a lie.
I think it's better than what you believe in. And you're not stealing something small. It's more than a 1/4 of a gold dinar and thing. You're just stealing because you want to cause corruption and this and that. Chop off a hand in public. Let me see somebody rob you again. Allah, you're going to be walking around with wads of cash and people will be like, I don't even see it. Islam is our relationship. Kufr breaks our relationship. You could be from my enemy tribe, you could be from...
And here he is again, different accent.
Somebody I hate, but if you're a mu'min, if you're a Muslim, you are my brother, you are beloved to me. You could be my own father. If you fight Islam, I will fight you.
He will fight his own father if he's not a Muslim. I mean, this is completely incompatible with Western culture, completely incompatible with the American way of life. And we must, absolutely must, stop it before it gets much further, any further. We got crosses being ripped off people's necks, school lunches being translated into halal, voucher dollars flowing into Islam schools. These aren't separate things going on here. This is all interconnected into their plan. And for the life of me, I don't understand how people are falling for it. If the American way was meant to assimilate into one civic culture, and that culture has been heavily shaped by Christianity, what we're seeing is an attack on that culture. And it's not by accident. It's not by accident. It's by design. They're telling you this is by design. I've shown multiple clips of guys just like this saying, we're taking over. We're going to make all your kids Muslim. If you value the American way of life, if you value the American heritage, if you believe that the public square should reflect one integrated, unified culture rather than separate parallel ones, then you got to get involved. You got to get involved. Get involved with your school district. Start looking at your state laws and policies. Demand transparency in how your public funds are used. This isn't about random food options or campus fights. It's about how American culture is defined. And right now, Islam is working very hard to define it their way. What are you going to do about it? Anyway, folks, that was, wow. I talked a lot about that once again. All right, let's go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor real quick before we move on, because I got a lot more I want to talk about, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to get to it all. But the sponsor for today's show is Carry Girl Gear, and Black Friday is coming up. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about Christmas just yet. It's not Thanksgiving, but Black Friday is coming up. Christmas is coming up. So if you're looking for some gifts, head over to carrygirl.com and check out all of these great designs. Check this out. This is Red, White, and Redeem. That's a great one. We got the Esther Revival collection. Actually, you know what? Where did it go? It was just here. Here we go. Check out this this product right here. This is a tumbler, pretty on point tumbler, and you can customize it with your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter's name. Go ahead and check this out. This is awesome. In the shape of a very large projectile. That's awesome. A pretty on point, personalized 32-ounce tumbler with your name or your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter's name in pink. So you wanna check that out. That will make a great gift. And then we have all the great designs that we normally have. The Grace collection, which is an awesome collection. And these make perfect holiday gifts. And so do these tumblers, this glassware. The bulletproof glasses, the Trump 47. I actually have one of these. It's awesome. I don't have one of these yet, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, check this out, carrygirl.com, and get your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter some great stuff for the holidays. And if you don't know what they might like, then go ahead and get yourself a gift card and let her pick out her gear herself, and you will be a hero. And believe me, this stuff is awesome. The material's great, the products are great, the designs are great. Everything about it is great. So check out carrygirl.com today. All right, y'all. I am Big E, and you are watching and listening to the Mission Ready Men Briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my good friend Sackhead Sean with The Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. His last show was amazing. He had a great guest on there, so you definitely want to check that out if you missed it. But yeah, SHR Media, check out all of the great shows that we have over there. We are, last I looked, we were at 669, I believe. So be sure to keep sharing these shows. We want to reach as many people as we possibly can. We're pushing for, here we go. Sackhead Sean says we're at 670. Awesome. But keep sharing, keep spreading the word, because we want to reach as many people as we possibly can. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. And the title of this show, as I said, talked about how faith is under attack. And there are two ideologies, Islam being one of them, The other is the alphabet mafia. And somewhere along the line between believe all women and what is a woman, the left forgot who women are. And I don't know if I haven't talked about it. I've been meaning to talk about it for a while. Haven't gotten to it, but I'm going to get to it right now. There was a locker room dust up at a Gold's Gym, I believe in Brooklyn. A woman by the name of Tish Hyman was at the gym, and some dude just walked in the locker room, claimed he was a woman, and Tish Hyman lost her mind, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I don't have that video where she's going off in the gym about this guy, but this right here is the guy who claims he's a woman. This guy, his name, he's going by Alexis Black. I'm not sure what his real name is Kyle Freeman, but he now goes by Alexis Black for some reason. And he's pretending to be a woman, and he was in the women's locker room. And this guy actually has a criminal record of causing his ex-wife, serious physical harm. He broke her jaw, and she required reconstructive surgery. And this is him before he decided he wanted to be a woman. And this is Ms. Hyman. But she actually got her gym membership revoked as a result of her rant on social media about this. And the fact that she lost her gym membership for confronting this guy and bringing light to it tells you all you really need to know about what is happening. And I mentioned how it's two ideologies. What they both have in common is they hate Christians. Islam hates Christianity, obviously, and the alphabet mafia hates Christians, because in both cases, they call out the lies in these ideologies. And they can't have that because they know that it's all lies. And I bring this up, like I said, I'm not going to play the video of her rant, but Tish Hyman did have a confrontation with, if I can find it. I swear I had all this stuff queued up, I promise. But here we go. She had a confrontation with Scott Wiener. So I guess this actually happened in LA, not Brooklyn, and that's my mistake. But she confronted him, Scott Wiener, at a town hall, and asked him about this. Let's take a listen. I'm not going to play the whole thing; it's almost 4 minutes long, but I'm going to skip around because there's some parts that get really good. But check this out.
Senator Wiener, as the only black lesbian here, can I please ask you a question, because I flew here to do that? Yeah. Okay. As a lesbian woman, who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, so if you're trans women are women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills, and like you said, there are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. And I do respect a lot of the things you've done. But I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed.
Now, she's been attacked after this for being homophobic and transphobic, if you can believe that.
That are dangerous for women and young children. And I understand that you're trying to be on a level playing field, and I'm here to represent my community because I hear a lot of things about my community in these bills. And I'm telling you as a woman, first and foremost, that this is dangerous, and we need your help because you're in the office, you're gonna go in the publicity spot. I wanna support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now, and we wanna know, are you going to protect women, not...
Well, the answer, of course, is no, he's not. If you are familiar with any of the bills that he's sponsored that have gotten signed into law by Mussolini, protecting women is the last thing on his mind. Protecting children is the last thing on his mind. He put forward a bill that basically allows dudes to, with children. Unbelievable. But she got booed later on in the video, and we are going to take a look at that. She was asked to leave and all kinds of other stuff. And it's just crazy that this is where we've come to. Whether she's black or a lesbian, it makes no difference. The fact is, there was a dude in the women's locker room, a violent dude in the women's locker room. And she's the one that's being vilified.
It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong. My sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons or soap, but she can get free transformation medication. Big Pharma at its best. Tired of it.
Wow. She can't get feminine products or soap, but she can get medication to transition, quote unquote, transition. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nancy Pelosi's anointed replacement, ladies and gentlemen. It actually makes me think maybe Nancy wasn't the worst. As sad as that is, yeah. As sad as that is at least worth considering. But something else on the Alphabet Mafia front, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, it was reported that they have decided not to allow men who claim to identify as women in women's events in the Olympics coming up. What took them so long? What took them so long? They've been fighting it tooth and nail. But now all of a sudden, they seem to be getting on board. Now, the president of the IOC has denied that a decision has been made. It was reported that a decision had been made. But she has come out and said that the working group is continuing its discussions. No decisions have been taken yet. Further information will be provided in due course. If they continue to allow dudes to engage in women's athletics, in women's events, I know that the Olympics are in this country this time around, but women should boycott. Women should absolutely boycott. I know that they train their entire lives for these opportunities. I understand it. But it's, especially in the strength and combat sports, it's a matter of safety. There's and I actually talked about this person a while back before, in the old iteration of the show, a person by the name of Ann something or other. It was a dude who quote unquote transitioned and broke all kinds of Ann Andres is his name. I don't know what his birth name was, but he's now goes by Ann Andres. And he broke all kinds of women's powerlifting records. And even breaking those records, he would be ranked 6,000, somewhere in the 6,000s, if he were competing against men. Which means he wouldn't even be on anybody's radar. He would be just a guy who thinks he is strong. But now, as competing as a woman, he's got all kinds of records. And that has happened numerous times. And if the IOC continues to allow this to happen, that could be disastrous for the Olympics in the long term. Riley Gaines, Martina Navratilova, April Hutchinson, who brought this Ann Andres case to the forefront. She's been talking about this for a few years now. I think this started in 2022 or 2023. But all of these women have been advocating for fairness in women's sports. Yeah, it is already disastrous for them. You're right, it is. It is absolutely already disastrous. But let's take a listen to what Riley Gaines actually had to say, because this is important.
I do believe women are deserving of privacy, safety, and fairness, and equal opportunity is not anti-trans. It is pro-woman, it is pro-reality, it is pro-truth, it is pro-fairness.
As my teammates and I were forced to undress in the presence of Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia.
We felt we couldn't complain.
When we tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah swimming on the team was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services as an attempt to re-educate us to be comfortable with the idea of undressing in front of a male.
Unbelievable. That was Paula Scanlon. And she was actually a teammate of Billy Thomas. I can't stand that they call him Leah. I really can't. His name is William Thomas. I call him Billy. And I also hate using the term biological male and biological female. You're a boy or a girl, a man or a woman. That's it. There are no qualifiers necessary. But Riley Gaines was right when she said that standing for fairness doesn't make you anti-trans, it makes you pro-woman. And the feminists who once burned bras for equal rights or whatever, they're now burning common sense. And it's sad to watch. Every time women speak up about this, they get punished. The Tish Hyman, she got her gym membership revoked. Riley Gaines gets attacked all the time as being a transphobe and a bigot and all the rest of it and a hater. Paula Scanlon, too, the same. She's been pretty outspoken. It took her a while to come around. I did a show about that a while back too, but she's been outspoken since. And they always talk about speaking your truth. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one truth, but they always talk about speaking your truth. And that's fine for them right up until you start talking about biology and reality. And then your truth becomes transphobic. It's ridiculous. Men and women are biologically different. Period. End of story. Muscle mass, bone density, lung capacity, that once you go through puberty, that does not go away. That's it. You're done. The IOC needs to protect these women, and not just safety in terms of the combat sports, like Aman Khalif, who hit that one Italian boxer so hard. She said she had never been hit that hard in her life, and after 40-something seconds, she decided it wasn't worth it. That was sad. But the IOC needs to protect these women and protect their records. And I don't know if it can be done retroactively. Well, of course it can be done. They need to, all these dudes who took all these records away from women, they need to be stripped of those records. They need to be stripped of those records. I know it's probably not going to happen, but it should. It really should. Acknowledging biological reality, admitting that there is a such thing as biological reality. If that's hateful, then God himself is a bigot because he created it. He created it. And what you're saying by saying that is that God is a bigot. And of course, these people hate Christians and hate Christianity. And so I'm sure they have no problem saying such a thing. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. It's not the case for him, and it's not the case for anyone who actually does acknowledge biological reality. All right, I need to move on. I got a couple other things I want to get to. Jersey Joe is in the chat. Thank you for joining us here, Joe. Better late than never, I suppose, right? No, but thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So I want to talk about something that I didn't get a chance to talk about before. I wanted to talk about it in the last show we did, but I didn't get to it, unfortunately. And that is our good friend, Jasmine Ratchet, or as Sackhead Sean likes to call her, Jazzy Crockett. She, and it's not even really her this time. There are a couple of the stories that maybe I'll get to if I can power through this, but the left likes to say that the Republicans, conservatives, are in a cult. They say that we worship President Trump. And if you've been watching this show for any length of time, you know that I have serious criticisms just in this show and the last show. I have serious criticisms of President Trump. And so whatever you think of conservatives and Republicans, we have no problem criticizing Trump when he does something that we don't like. No problem whatsoever. But apparently, this actually happened. There is a radio host by the name of Stephanie Miller who debased herself, humiliated herself by kissing Jasmine Crockett's feet. Yep, this actually happened. Look at the look on this guy's face. This is security. he thinks that this woman has lost her mind. And of course, Jazzy is giving her a hug because her ego thinks that she deserves to have her feet kissed like that. But it's just, I have never once seen anyone say or try to kiss President Trump's feet. And I don't know anyone who would. But apparently, this woman did it and did it proudly. Stephanie Miller, yes, I did kiss the sneakers of Jasmine Crockett, and I do worship the ground she walks on. Okay. I don't worship the ground anyone walks on. I worship God. You will not find me, and I don't think you'll find anyone who supports President Trump thinking that they worship the ground he walks on and will kiss his feet. That's just not how we think. But we're the ones in a cult, apparently. Just utterly ridiculous. This happened at a Prop 50 event. And this is not this is, well, she said it herself, this is worship. This is adoration for a woman who is absolutely useless. Useless. All of her staffers and former staffers have said that she is completely useless. She has done nothing. She is all about herself. She is all about getting her followers. And then a story came out this week about all of the money that, it actually came out a while back when her staffers were quitting, and they were talking about how she would make them rent these expensive vehicles to drive her around and all this stuff. And it came out then that she was spending a ridiculous amount of taxpayer money. And it hit the news again that she has been spending ton of money, ton of taxpayer money on exorbitant things and security and all the rest of it. But she's useless. But yet, as I said, MAGA supporters are in a cult. But here's the thing, kissing her feet is a universal sign of submission. She said in her tweet that she worships the ground she walks on. This is kissing any part of an official like that, or kissing a ring, or kissing the feet. That's always been historically reserved for kings and maybe priests and stuff like that. But this was grotesque. And as I said, she debased herself by doing this. And she probably thinks it was warranted because Jasmine Crockett's Black and she's white, and she's a guilty, overeducated white woman who knows what was going through her mind at this exact moment. But it's utterly ridiculous. Sackhead Sean says, Jazzy gives off the same aura as the mayor outside Illinois who spent the city into the poor. Yeah, I mean, just these, I don't get it. What was going through her mind? Probably mostly the wind. Yeah, probably. This is just more cringe. It's evidence of cultural rot. It's evidence of just a complete disdain for, yeah, Tiffany Hanyard, that's right. Yeah, I couldn't remember her name either, but yeah, Tiffany Hanyard. Oh my goodness, that woman, wow. Yeah, Jasmine Ratchet does remind you of her, doesn't she? Kissing the feet of anyone, just, I don't know. They call us a cult. Because we love our country, we love and respect the Constitution, and we worship and love God. And because of that, we're in a cult. But yet, they can kiss the feet of some mediocre politician, and that's somehow not cult-like behavior. I kneel to God. That's it. That is it. I don't kneel to people, not to any political party, and definitely not to any politician. Anyway, folks, that is all I got for you today. I did want to, yeah, you know what, let's do this real quick, because this was actually pretty hilarious. Barbara Comstock. Barbara Comstock is someone who is suffering from acute Trump derangement syndrome. And this happens a lot on the left. She fell for a parody account spewing some ridiculous conspiracy theories. And this is the post right here, the halfway post. White House lawyers are reportedly worried Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace recorded their phone calls with Trump where he begged, bribed, threatened, and cried for them to reverse their votes on releasing the Epstein files. I mean, it's obvious. It's obviously a joke, right? But Barbara Comstock, she retweeted it, quote tweeted it, and said, "Lordy, I hope there are tapes." And Twitchy is laughing. Everyone's laughing because the halfway post is a satire account. It's parody. And she fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And Twitchy or X didn't let up. This one, Bobby Trevette. Barbara Comstock regularly tweeting, "Satire is incredible. Nothing on Jay Jones from her, but she'll let her followers know about satire." Seriously, this is amazing. I never heard of Barbara Comstock until I came across the story. I don't know. I have no idea who she is, but apparently she's something, and and Twitchy felt the need to tell us about it, and I am here for it. But anyway, folks, that's all I got for you this time. I will try to do better on the next one, make each episode better than the last one. If any of what I said hit home for you, please take a second to like and subscribe and share it with everyone that you know, and be sure to like and subscribe to all of the shows on SHR Media. We're not just here to opine or bloviate or run our mouths. We're here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the message of conservatism and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. And if you want some cool gear, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great designs that we have over there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.